Moving on to this section of our lecture, we will be discussing contusion and axonal shearing lesions. In this section, we will talk about contusions, what are the signs and symptoms, and how we can diagnose a contusion radiologically. We will see what is hemorrhage and how contusions are going to cause hemorrhage, and what are the axonal shearing lesions. Contusion is basically a region of injured tissue or skin in which blood capillaries have been ruptured, or in simple terminologies, we call it a bruise. It is usually the result of severe cranial trauma, consists of varying degrees of petechial hemorrhages, edema, and tissue destruction. There are certain mechanical forces that displace and compress the hemispheres forcefully, which lead to deceleration of brain against the inner skull. Whenever there is deceleration of brain against the inner skull, the brain gets damaged either under a point of impact, which is known as a collision, or as the brain swings back in the antipolar area, or also known as the counter collision. A blunt deceleration impact causes contusions after as occurs against an automobile dashboard or after falling forward on towards a hard surface. The contusion occurs on the orbital surfaces of frontal lobes and the interior and basal portions of the temporal lobes. And in case of lateral forces, whenever there is an impact with the automobile door frame, the patient might get a contusion on the lateral convexity of the hemisphere. Now, what are the clinical signs of contusion? They are mainly determined by the location and size of the lesion. Often, no focal neurological abnormalities are found in case of contusions, but the injured regions later become the sites of gliotic scars, which are the main cause of epilepsy in these patients. The clinical signs are patient will experience seizures. There might be hemiparesis or gaze preference in case of moderately sized contusions. Hemiparesis is weakness of one half of a body. The patient might experience stupor with extensive posturing if the contusions are large and bilateral. If the contusions are limited to frontal lobe, the patient will go into a taciturn state, which is, in simple terms, we say that the patient will become silent and unsociable behavior will be exhibited by the patient. And if the contusions are limited to temporal lobe, the patient may exhibit a delirium or an aggressive combative syndrome. Moving on to the diagnosis, it can be done either by CT or MRI scans. We will find inhomogeneous hyperdensities on CT and hyperintensities on T2 and fluid attenuated inversion recovery FLAIR MRI sequences. These are very important for the diagnosis of contusions. There will be localized brain edema surrounding the contusion. In case of a subarachnoid bleeding, blood in CSF will provoke a mild inflammatory reaction, and there will be Plaques-Jones due to glial reactions. Over a few days, contusions acquire a surrounding contrast enhancement, and edema may be mistaken for tumor or abscess. Now, we said that glial and macrophage reactions cause Plaques-Jones. What are Plaques-Jones? These are basically chronic, scarred, hemosiderin-stained depressions on the cortex caused by glial and macrophage reactions, and these are the main source of post-traumatic epilepsy. Moving on to hemorrhage. Whenever there is a torsional or shearing force within the brain, it causes hemorrhage of the basal ganglia and other deep regions of the brain. Larger hemorrhages after minor trauma indicate that there is either a bleeding diathesis in the patient or there is cerebrovascular amyloidosis. Deep cerebral hemorrhages may not develop until several days after the injury. So, if there is a deep cerebral hemorrhage, it indicates that the patient is complicated. So, how we can get the idea that the patient is going into a complication? There will be sudden neurologic deterioration in a comatose patient or a sudden rise in intracranial pressure. Both these signs will indicate that there are deep cerebral hemorrhages and the patient is going into a condition of coma. Investigations are required to detect this problem. We should get a prompt CT scan in order to detect a deep cerebral hemorrhage. Now, what are axonal shearing lesions? These are basically a special type of deep white matter lesion that consists of widespread mechanical disruption or shearing of axons at the time of impact. As you can see in this diagram, this is a detailed view in section. This is dura, then we have the skull. This is the white matter of brain, the nerve cell axons, and this is the gray matter of brain, which is the nerve cell bodies, and there is a complete shearing. In case of a complete shearing, what happens is this is the body, these are axons, and this is dendrite. Whenever there is a contusion or a concussion occurs, there is stretching or pulling of the axons, which leads to tearing and then ultimately complete shearing of axon from the nerve cell body. Small areas of tissue injury in corpus callosum and dorsolateral pons are the most characteristic of axonal shearing lesions. The presence of widespread multifocal axonal damage in both hemispheres. This is a state which is called diffuse axonal injury. It proposes that persistent coma and vegetative state are found after closed head injury. But small ischemic hemorrhagic lesions in midbrain and thalamus are alternative explanations for this diffuse axonal injury as well. Now, how do we diagnose these axonal shearing lesions? These are also diagnosed by CT scan, but only severe shearing lesions that contain blood, usually in the corpus callosum and centrum semi-ovale, are detected by the CT scan. Then there are special MRI sequences to detect small amounts of blood. And we have a diffusion tensor imaging, which demonstrate lesions throughout the white method. So these are the three methods by which we can diagnose the axonal shearing lesions. This was all about contusion, hemorrhage, and axonal shearing lesions. Thank you for watching sqadia.com.